Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please be sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating. Okay, folks, we got a lot of news around Binance. So first up, Binance founder CZ, while speaking at Davos, says he predicts Bitcoin will enter a supercycle this year. Now, is that guaranteed? Of course not. However, if the founder of the world's largest crypto exchange is saying this, it seems like some sort of rally is coming. I don't know if we enter a super cycle, but it could be that final blow off top leg that we've been waiting for. I'm not saying that just because CZ saying it. We've been looking at the charts, we've been looking at the macro. We still got crypto legislation on the table. We're in the quantitative easing cycle and much more. So I think those things will contribute to a move to new all-time high. Now, like I said, not guaranteed. We're not talking certainties here. We're talking probabilities. But great to hear this from CZ. In addition, he says that he believes the 4-year cycle is essentially done. It has broken, and that he's anticipating higher prices due to the greater acceptance of crypto around the world. And Binance confirmed tokenized equities plans 5 years after their initial push. So they've been working with a lot of different governments around the world, and they've been saying that a lot of these governments are asking them about tokenization and much more. So in a statement to Cointelegraph on Fridays, a spokesperson for Binance said exploring the potential to offer tokenized equities is a natural next step for bridging traditional finance and crypto. Should the exchange reintroduce digital versions of stocks for companies, it would represent a significant change in Binance's offerings since it announced ceasing support for stock tokens in July 2021. They were clearly early when they tried to do that. No one really cared for tokenized equities or stocks in 2021. We were all looking at NFTs and DeFi tokens and much more, but clearly institutions are here, governments are here, and they're all looking to be able to offer this. So we've seen Coinbase, they've built kind of a model for this, and they're now offering tokenized stocks. So is Robinhood, Kraken as well. So it makes sense that Binance would roll this back out. Here's another quote. Binance is committed to bridging traditional finance and crypto, expanding user choices while maintaining the highest regulatory standards, said the spokesperson. Since last year, we started supporting tokenized real-world assets, and we recently launched the first regulated TradFi perpetual contract settled in stablecoin. So everyone's heading in the same direction, right? We've been talking about look at the direction the puck is heading in, and that is all these traditional assets on chain, folks. Now it's going to take time, and they're going to have to build liquidity in markets, and we'll see which assets really have strong markets for them, demand. It's inevitable that this is absolutely coming. Now, Binance applies for a Mica or Mica license in Greece as the EU deadlines loom. So we know the EU has the Mica regulation, and everybody has to get under that. That's their version of the crypto market structure, right? And we're trying to get that passed here in the United States. So a Binance spokesperson confirmed to Cointelegraph on Friday that the exchange had filed for a Mica license in Greece and was working with the country's financial regulator, the Hellenic Capital Market Commission. Here's a quote. We welcome the opportunity to work closely with the HCMC as this new regulation takes shape in the EU and look forward to contributing to the long-term growth of the EU's digital financial ecosystem, the exchange's representative said. So clearly, everybody's got to get in line. They got to get their licenses and be compliant if they want to operate. This is what's going to happen across the globe. And like I said earlier, the United States is on the cusp of getting that done here. I do believe it's going to happen this year. We just got to go through the whole sausage making process of getting legislation through the Senate. And the news around Binance continues. So Grayscale has filed for a BNB ETF, and the ticker would be GBNB. So Grayscale has been on a tear, launching many crypto altcoin ETFs, and BNB, of course, is one of the top 10 assets. So it makes sense. And now that there's more regulatory clarity, I think more folks are willing to support BNB because it's not your traditional type of blockchain token. It's tied to the exchange. But under, again, the crypto friendly environment we're in, I think you're going to see more of these things pop up. There have been talks about Coinbase potentially launching their own token. We haven't heard anything new yet, but if Coinbase launches a token, I'm investing in it. I miss BNB, and I wish I had bought it. I had the opportunity to buy it, but I was concerned about Binance being a foreign exchange, and when they had issues here in the United States. And I was like, I don't know. I think I'm not gonna risk it. And boy, I wish I did, because I could have gotten it very cheap and made some incredible money. And Binance over the years, they burned a lot of the BNB token, which has reduced the supply and driven the price up. And being the native token in the world's largest exchange really benefited the token. So really great to see this, folks. Exciting times. All right, this episode is brought to you by Trezor, which makes beautiful hardware wallets that make it easy for you to self-custody your crypto assets. Folks, many of you know I'm a big believer in self-custody. I have been for years. I've preached about it. I keep the majority of my crypto assets on hardware wallets, and I'm a user of the Trezor Save 5 and Trezor Save 7. And the Trezor Save 7 is their most recent device. It's beautiful, it's quantum ready, and much more top of the line security. And of course, Trezor, they were the ones who pioneered crypto hardware wallets back in 2013. They started it all. They created the hardware wallet, they created the seed phrase setup, and their hardware wallets are open source. And folks, they support all the top coins, Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, Ethereum, BNB, Cardano, you name it. You go down the list, they support all of it, even new tokens. And they have a great software suite that helps you to manage all of this. And folks, if you use my code, Thinking Crypto, all one word, Thinking Crypto, you can get 5% off your purchase. So check them out. And once again, if you want to make a purchase, use the code Thinking Crypto to get a discount. All the links will be in the description. Now, folks, we continue to see banks going all in on crypto here. UBS is weighing crypto trading for private banking clients. It's incredible, folks. All the dominoes are falling here. All the banks, all the stock exchanges, all the major financial institutions, right? So again, it's inevitable, just a matter of time. So the world's biggest global wealth manager, UBS, is reportedly exploring a move to open crypto trading to its wealthiest clients. Bloomberg reported Friday, citing a person familiar with the matter, that the Swiss banking giant aims to let private banking clients in Switzerland trade Bitcoin and Ethereum first, with a possible rollout to the Asia Pacific region and the United States later. Do I need to say more? We know what's coming, and they're not just only going to offer it to wealthy clients. They're going to test the waters with the wealthy clients. They're going to open up to retail. I've given the mock scenario for many years, right? That your local bank rep will call you up and much more, especially if you have a relationship with them. And we know that here in the United States, PNC Bank, Citi, JP Morgan have partnered with Coinbase to be able to offer this to retail and institutions as well. And not only that, guys, UBS, they already run a tokenization pilots such as the UMINT, tokenized US dollar money market fund on Ethereum, and a Swift UBS Chainlink tokenized fund settlement trial, experimenting with putting traditional fund products on blockchain rails even before considering offering spot crypto trading. So again, they're approaching this from many different angles, right? Crypto trading and custody, tokenization, stable coins, they're all in, and they're doing many different things. So it's not just one item. They recognize that blockchain rails are going to power the economy and much more. And as crypto continues to grow, we've been talking a lot about it. We're going to see more companies go public this year. And here we got an update that CertiK eyes IPO at $2 billion valuation as it targets the first public Web3 security or cybersecurity listing. So CertiK is a Binance-backed on-chain analytics firm. And again, they're looking to do an IPO. And of course, yesterday, BitGo, the crypto custodian here in the United States, went public on the New York Stock Exchange. So we got CertiK, we got Securitized, Kraken, and even there's talks of Ledger. They plan to do a New York IPO with a potential valuation of over $4 billion, working with Goldman Sachs, Jefferies, and Barclays on listing that could happen this year. This is per the Financial Times. So incredibly bullish for the market. And like I've been saying, no one goes public in a bear market where the liquidity is drying up, right? In fact, liquidity is on the rise. So this is very, very good for crypto. And my hope is that, as we get market structure, we get more companies going public, you got the liquidity from quantitative easing rising, we have that final blow up top leg. And we continue to see many states within the US start to file for the ability to create a Bitcoin reserve. I think a handful of states currently are doing that, but the dominoes are falling, right? Game theory is playing out here. So Kansas Bitcoin reserve bill advances to Senate Financial Institutions Committee. So you got Kansas, you got Tennessee. There was even Florida. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we heard about Florida becomes the latest state to pursue a Bitcoin reserve. So it's incredible that these states are doing this, and it only took one to get moving: Texas, Arizona, Wyoming, and then the others, right? They started moving. So really, really great stuff. Now, on the legislation front, just so you guys know, the Monday markup that was supposed to take place has gotten canceled due to the snowstorm that's coming here in the Northeast. I'm in New Jersey near New York, and Washington, D.C. is going to get hit with snow. So just so you guys know, when it happens, when they reschedule it to, I don't know, but just, look, again, the sausage making process, act of God, that type of stuff, you can't control that. But we're going to get the bill done. It's just we got to go through the painstaking process, which can be very annoying and frustrating at times. And look at this. The SEC dismisses lawsuit against billionaire Winklevoss twins backed Gemini over earn product. So the SEC wrapping up all the Gensler tenure or era lawsuits and things that were, not based on fraud or anything like that. And I don't think the Winklevoss twins did anything wrong. It was Genesis. They were using Genesis, and you had these folks who were not doing the right thing, right? Including FTX, Celsius, Genesis, Arrows Capital, I believe it was, 3AC. So I'm glad that era is over with. And now we can, build and have the transparency and work with the regulators and have more, accountability for these companies and so forth. And great to see that these things are wrapping up. Now, final news item here: UK FCA moves closer to crypto regulation with final consumer duty consultation. So again, all the main countries and jurisdictions around the world are putting their crypto rules and regulations in place to allow this asset class to grow. They're not banning it, they're not killing it, guys. And so clearly, when all these things are in place, what do you think is going to happen? The floodgates are going to open with capital, trillions will come in, innovation will surge. So let me give you some details here. The UK Financial Conduct Authority has entered the final stage of its consultation on crypto regulation and is seeking feedback by March 12th on how its consumer duty rules would apply to crypto asset firms. The FCA plans to open an application gateway for crypto asset permissions in September 2026, ahead of new rules requiring all crypto service providers, including those already registered under money laundering regulations, to be authorized by October 2027. The consumer duty will require crypto firms to act in good faith, avoid foreseeable harm, and support customers in achieving financial goals, while the FCA stresses that regulation is meant to set standards and not eliminate the inherent risks of investing in digital assets. So things are moving ahead across the globe. The infrastructure being built for this asset class to continue to grow. And of course, you got to put the regulations in place to protect consumers from scammers and bad actors. We've seen a lot of them come and try to scam people and rug pull and much more. We can't have that. And if you want institutions to come in, you got to have the clear rules of the road so they can feel comfortable and they don't have to worry about lawsuits or the government attacking them and things like that. So things moving ahead, guys. I am bullish. I know many of you are going to look at the charts and the prices and say, Tony, how can you be bullish? I'm looking at the macro. Yes, I want to make money. Yes, I wish the market was not down right now, but I've been here for a while and my portfolio has grown cycle over cycle. It's just a matter of being patient and, we're all, hoping that this year we see that final move blow up top. And again, not guaranteed, but I think there's a high probability of that happening. Folks, let me know what you think about this news. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. And be sure to support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter on Substack. Grab a copy of my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And my course at mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all. And I'll talk to you all later.